Welcome to Tiger Talks Wrestling. This is your host, Tony. And before I get into today's guest, I just want to mention that my co host, Martini Charles Hilton III, is MIA again today. He is still trying to recuperate from a beating he took from his cousin Hellhound earlier this week. But from that, which we'll get into him a little bit here, I would like to introduce my guest today. He is the owner and president of DBW, Dominating Backyard Wrestling. The Prophet of Purgatory, and a member of the New Brotherhood, Mr. Judgment.
How you doing, Tony?
Doing very well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing just fabulous.
It's great to hear. All right. Let's jump right into the interview here. I want to know what your
Okay.
backyard wrestling origins are. What got you first involved in the backyard?
Oh boy, uh, I'm an old man, so bear with me. My backyard wrestling venture started back in 2000.
Yep.
Just relatives. I am the oldest of three, two younger brothers, so you can only imagine we all liked wrestling.
Right.
And we just started just kind of messing around a little. No, we started thinking, let's try to organize this a little bit better. And about a year or two later, we started doing that and started recording it on VHS because that's all we had at the time.
Yep.
um, and it was great. It was great to kind of see. We would always go back and critique, our matches, try to make it a little bit better, try to tell some kind of a storyline concept. And back then, we were called the DWF, Dominating Wrestling Federation.
Mm-hmm.
The D in all these acronyms are always the same.
Gotcha.
But then about 2000, let's see, it's about 2004, 2005, I decided to test out the Indies. Trained in Hagerstown, Maryland, under House of Pain, Pro Wrestling, and NWL, National Wrestling League. Trained with guys like Luke Gallows was in my training class.
Nice.
Him quite a few times. Wrestled Nikolai Volkov, Hall of Famer, squash match, but still wrestled a WWE Hall of Famer, and I
Yep.
made him look good too. Good Lord.
Nice.
So I did that for a little while and really enjoyed my time with that, and got to travel with a couple promotions. But, what I noticed is you're creatively constrained within indie pro wrestling.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of times characters are given to you instead of being able to come up with your own. At least that's how it was when I did.
Yeah.
For now, you may have more freedom now. I guess it depends on where you go. But the guy I have was very old school. I mean, very old school,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just how he operated, which is fine. But I kind of drifted away from that and went back into backyard wrestling, and this was be about 2006 now, and been backyard wrestling pretty much ever since. We were still the DWF for then. Some of those matches, old matches, wrestling on futon mattresses,
Ooh.
are on YouTube. Oh yes. After that, a few years later, I think it was back in 2013 or 14, a few years later, we made it to the trampoline, like a lot of companies do.
Right.
We called ourselves the Dominating Trampoline Wrestling, DTW. We did that, and that's kind of what filtered into what we have now. We wrestled on the trampoline, and then we had a crazy windstorm, tore it all to pieces. And we even wrestled on that broken trampoline for a little while. And then at the beginning of this year, and bought a ring. We were indoors here in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. And it's been absolutely a crazy year this year for DBW, Dominating Backyard Wrestling.
Right.
So that kind of brings us 17 years later to
Right.
where we are today. And couldn't be happier with anything and everything, the way it's been going with my character, with the company especially, and some of the characters that we have here and some of the talent that we have here. Is just absolutely ridiculously top-notch talent.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, sir.
All right. That's definitely an interesting version or way to get involved in the backyard. Don't hear quite as long of a journey for most people that I've had on here, but
Yeah, I don't know if there's too many older than me. I'm sure there are a few sprinkled out there, but
right.
maybe a folk, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of them at least, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Who would you say were some of your influences from pro wrestling back in the day?
Influences. My favorite wrestler of all time was Macho Man Randy Savage. Um, and he was my favorite because, well, back in the day, whenever he wrestled late '80s, '90s,
Mm-hmm.
the characters back then were larger than life.
It's true.
You know, some of the promos he cut are just the most insane, crazy promos you'll ever see. That's the whole point of it. You remember that, and he
Right.
could tell a story better than anybody else. And then,
It's very
you
true.
know, and then he was so good in the ring, and the elbow drop he hit off the top. Ugh, it's the nastiest thing I've ever seen.
Nobody's ever
Uh,
done it better.
oh, I completely agree. Um, I would say him by far top for me, and then I have guys, the Undertaker, Kane. Um, let's see, Goldberg. I was a huge Goldberg fan in the late '90s. Huge Goldberg fan.
Me too.
Um, yes, I love the streak, man. I would be on the edge of
Yep.
my seat every time I come out for his 20-second matches.
Right.
Um, but that's pretty much who I would say I credit. Triple H. I mean, in the ring, I don't know if there was anybody better. Technically gifted in the ring. The most hated villains of the late '90s, early 2000s, I would say.
Oh yes.
Uh, and everybody would say, The Rock, Stone Cold, those were always your favorites and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would say those.
Nice influences. Hey. So Yankee says, "What's up, guys?" I'll
What's
say in the
up?
chat there, Yankee. And King Dominator is also in the chat. Says, "Hey, what? How y'all doing today?
Going on, man?
Doing good. You guys keep the questions, comments coming as we're moving along in here, getting started. Um, from your influences, I just want to move into the time that you've had in dominating backyard wrestling, as
Mm-hmm.
it's now called. Um, how would you say things have been going so far in DBW for you?
Well, last year, and I kind of missed this in the history part, but last year for the 2016 season, we actually built a ring. And
Right.
those matches for the 2016 season are on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
Um, with this year, I mean, it started off with total domination this year and was an
Mm-hmm.
incredible event. It was the one of the real first times we had multiple promotions that were involved with us because we have always seen DBW and we've tried to do this as the land of opportunity. We know we have a very good venue here and we want to give other companies as much exposure as we can.
Right.
And UWF out of New York, we've worked with those guys. ECW worked with those guys and still work with those guys, and they're more heavily involved now
Right.
with us. And then, of course, there was BEW. There was VTW.
Which we'll get into.
Oh, yes. So this year has just been absolutely amazing. Just how we've grown as a company, and our roster is I would say the biggest, if not one of the biggest, on the East Coast. Of
Yeah, I would agree
about
with you on that.
two
Um,
competitors.
yeah. So I want to get your opinion on one person that, as you mentioned, was from ECW or KWA, as it's called now, that is quite prominently shown, I would say, in the last few shows on DBW programming. That being one Casey James.
Casey James, formerly known as Phoenix.
Yes,
Um, Phoenix and myself and Cyrus last year were in a faction called the Dark Brotherhood.
correct.
Very successful faction, won a ton of titles, ton of matches, and put on some amazing matches. Casey James, just my company, seeing how he's progressed since joining us last year has been amazing. Him and Cyrus both I mean, those guys have just lit this place on fire. And with Casey James right now, I mean, he's just as good on the mic as he is in the ring, and that's
Right.
even for a big guy, he can move around in this ring.
Then again.
He's fantastic, fantastic, and he's involved in a huge match at All Hallows Eve. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. So he's got a world title shot coming up at All Hallows Eve. So
That's right.
yeah, that'll be pretty big. I know he's just coming off of 2 matches, I believe, with oh sorry, I just drew a blank on his name, but
Yeah. That Ricky Colon, yes.
yes, yes, I knew that was it.
Remember the Puerto Rican Dynasty, Ricky Colon, 2 amazing matches. And their second match, that the one they just had at Danger Zone, will be up this week. It was a tables match, and it was fantastic. An absolute great match. Yeah, I mean, Casey James is putting his heart and soul in the ring and, not holding anything back, that's for sure.
Right. I'd agree. He's been pretty impressive from what little I've seen of him a lot
He has.
lately. Yankee even says Casey is the man.
Yes, Casey is man.
Right. King Dominator says, "Hey Judgment, I would love to be in DBW, but I live in Clarksville, Tennessee. Can't travel, but if I can, I would love to be a part of DBW."
Hey, well, that's great, man. We have guys that travel all the way from New York, and like I said, the
Yep.
VTW guys were up here. That's a hell of a hike for them.
Right.
We've had guys from all over, so it's just giving us advance notice, and we work you in, even if it's just for a show. Just to get you in this 16 by 16 ring that sits behind me.
Yeah. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Paradox is in the chat room right now. Mentions
Paradox, my brethren.
Yep. Mentions the New Brotherhood is far better than the Dark Brotherhood.
I would have to agree. I think the sky's the limit for the New Brotherhood. I think we encompass right now all aspects of wrestling. You have myself with the power and the technical ability. You have Paradox, especially with the technical ability and the hardcore ability. And then you have Zach Romick, who is the high flyer, risk taker, will put his body just about through anything. So encompass quite a bit.
Yep. That is true. All right. Um, you guys have been posting videos quite a bit lately, trying to get the last 2 shows up on DBW.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I guess the editing team's been hard at work getting those up there.
Have. We've been very hard at work. Very hard. There's so much footage and so much great footage, and we're really trying to push it out as quickly as we can because as soon as we get a video out within a day or two, it's got a couple hundred views. People want to see it, and I think that we have a great quality here. With all competitors that we have, we encompass all ranges of talent, from very young, ancient, and crippled like myself. So we have everything in between. I'm
I
not
won't go
crippled.
that far, but yeah. So, gotta mention, Yankee says they went from the Dark Brotherhood to the Darker Brotherhood.
Well, I mean, however you want to say it, the bottom line is we are here to do what the first letter in our acronym is, which is to dominate. And all by the way, take souls for me along the way.
Yeah. I want to touch on one match that you and I were kind of talking a little bit about earlier. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but you had a match with Cyrus for the World Championship recently. Want to delve into that match a little bit?
Sure. That match. That match took, I think, a lot out of us both. Some things that happened in that match. I'll never get. I lost so much in that match. I'll never get that back.
Right.
Trying to reclaim my DBW championship after he being the ultimate opportunist and cashing in his number one contender championship at Blaze of Glory the pay-per-view before.
Yep.
I have to give him kudos for cashing in. That's what that title's all about, is seizing that opportunity, and he sure as hell did. And we went on to this Heaven's Gate match, which is essentially a reverse ladder match where you have to take the title from the ref who sits outside the ring and climb up the ladder and secure it at the very top of the arena above me. And a grueling match. Hardly ever do you see matches, especially backyard wrestling matches, that last about an hour.
True.
And we went through an hour of hell. And the crowd was just into it so much, sitting right by ringside. And I think that even though they were booing the shit out of me,
Mm-hmm.
it fueled us both. It really did, to try to one up each other and to try to be successful in that match and to ultimately grab the ultimate prize in our company.
Right.
But ladder matches have never been my friend, Tony. I am 0-15 in ladder matches
Ooh.
in my 17-year career. It's not good.
Yes, sir.
Um, but I'm keeping that streak alive. You know what I'm saying?
I'd say you
Um,
need to avoid ladder matches like the plague, pretty much.
I think so. I think so. That's on my bucket list to win one before I'm done.
Right. There you go.
But Cyber was able to pick up the win and secure his title. And as hard as it is for me to say, this has been a great champion. His title reign here, very successful. He's had a great year this year.
Yeah, I'll get into that, Yankee. We'll get into that. You happen to mention your guys' match, which we'll touch on here in a little bit.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, that one. So, keeping with DBW first, I want to finish off with that before we move on. Just
Absolutely.
recently, you guys posted your match from Danger Zone. You had a match against a newcomer called the OC in an Anarchy match, actually. Your specialty.
It was an Armageddon match.
Armageddon, yeah, sorry.
Yes, most finishers in 30 minutes wins the match. His finisher being the TKO, mine, of course, being the Judgment Slam.
Legitimate Slam, yeah.
Absolutely. OC, an unknown guy who thought he was just going to come in here off the streets and, just come here and compete in DBW, just without a contract, without anything. Well, I took offense to that. Guys who have
Right.
earned their right in here. So he was going to have to do the same. So
Mm-hmm.
I was left without an opponent for Danger Zone. So it just so happened OC, this newcomer, this unknown guy, was ready to go. So I gave him the match of his life. And
Did.
tell you what, even though that match is a creation, he did a fantastic job and
Yeah.
pushed me a little bit harder than I thought he was going to.
I mean, you'd be remiss if you didn't mention that he did actually give you a TKO right at the end of the match, too. So,
right at the end, yes, he did. And he snuck it in.
yes.
But it's he's a very different competitor. He's very small. He's a
Oh,
tiny
yeah.
guy. But I just with me being the older guy, the taller guy, and the tallest guy in DBW, one of the tallest guys in backyard wrestling, I would say. I tried to catch up to him and match his speed, but I just couldn't do it. But I think eventually, as time wore on, that speed aspect of his wore off, and that's when my
Mm-hmm.
power game over. Um, Good match. It was a good match, and I think
Yeah,
that for All Hallows Eve here, he has a match against the gamer Jim Connors, and if he wins that, he will get a contract for DBW.
very nice. So, you want to delve into, as you mentioned, that was an impromptu match. You want to delve into the match that you were originally supposed to have and that we didn't get to see?
Oh, we had to bring that up.
And I
Had
have
to
to.
bring that up.
I have to.
Okay. So the original match that was due to be planned was myself versus who, Tony?
Victor Van Pelt.
Correct. And I don't know if I don't know if he was scared and pissed his pants. I don't know what it was, but I don't know if you've noticed it, but we really haven't seen too much since then. I
True.
know he's been Proving Grounds, and which is, Proving Grounds is fantastic, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Uh, but I think he's a little intimidated coming down here to DBW, and for whatever reason decided to no call, no show, so to speak.
Yeah.
But regardless, I was going to give him the match of his life. But nonetheless, OC filled in more than good enough.
Right.
Have a hell of a match. That's all I got to say about Van Pelt. I don't want to waste my breath too much.
All right. Gonna say it would have been an interesting match between you and Victor with the stipulations you guys had going into it too. But
oh yeah, soul versus career.
yes,
Yeah, I would have taken his soul and flushed it down the toilet.
there you go.
Piece of garbage.
So I can't move away from that match, the Armageddon match, without mentioning what happened after the match was over. You got a little visit from VTW star, the
Oh,
Blackout, Aaron Jones.
oh, is that who that was?
And that's who that was.
Ah, oh, Mr. Blackout, Aaron Jones. So this guy comes into my ring and thinks that because he's with VTW, intimidate myself and everybody. Well, I hate to tell you this, but that's not how this works, son. Aaron Jones, let me tell you this. I think by shaking my hand and accepting my challenge for a match, I don't care if it's here in DBW, I don't care if it's down there in VTW, but I'm going to whip your ass so bad. And like I said, at the end of that match, I'm going to make you live up to your moniker of the Blackout because I'm going to make your ass black out, son. Aaron Jones, Tony.
I guess that's all you got to say about it. I mean,
yeah. Again, don't waste my breath too much.
Yeah, it was an interesting confrontation that you two had.
It was. It was. It was an interesting confrontation. Definitely didn't expect that. I mean, I think if he was more of a man, he would have confronted me before I had a 25-minute match. But no, that's neither here nor there. It's all good. Got to choose your opportunities wisely.
That's true. You do. Uh, okay, so King Dominator wants to know if Scorpion Assassin will get a rematch for the DBW World Championship.
Scorpion the Assassin, who is the owner of UWF, who's one of our partner companies up in New York, a great up-and-coming company. He's a great competitor. He looks very similar and looks very familiar to a pro wrestler. He is digging the Crow version of Sting.
Yep.
And he does amazing work. I'm not sure if he's going to get another title match. I mean, that was we usually, you have to be quite tenured here in DBW to get a DBW championship match. But Cyrus insisted on it. And in a strap match of all things, 4-corner strap match. Mm-hmm. And being the it factor that he is, took Scorpion the Assassin, for a hell of a match. But I'll tell you what, Scorpion the Assassin kept getting up. So, he's a hard guy to keep down. But we'll see in the future. Scorpion the Assassin is definitely a guy to look out for.
All right. I know you guys have a big show that's going to be taking place there in DBW tomorrow, which I want to delve into a little bit, but not right now. I want to move along off of DBW for a few minutes, and then we'll get back to that.
Sounds good.
Well, I could go with one more thing from DBW. Anything else you want to say about the new Brotherhood and what brought about the formation of this?
So, I guess we have to start with the Dark Brotherhood. From that Brotherhood, I saw something last year whenever I created the Dark Brotherhood. I saw something in Cyrus and in Phoenix that I had not seen from anybody else. I saw guys that were willing to do anything and everything to be at the top, dominant. Right. And while they were in the Dark Brotherhood, especially last year, going into this year even, dominant. 2-time tag team champions for Cyrus and Phoenix. I became the DBW World Champion. Also, I was the World Extreme Champion. And also became the #1 contender champion. So to say we were successful is an understatement. But I guess all good things must come to an end, I guess is how they say it.
Yep.
And started to slow down. And Phoenix had one job, which was to get rid of, at that point, Paradox. That was his job. Right. And he failed. And he failed and was forced to retire at the hands. Sure. So Phoenix is out after that. I gave him the hand of God, which is a choke slam rock bottom. So then we move on to Cyrus. Cyrus, on a great streak, became number one contender champion, two-time tag team champions here in the DBW. And what happens? He gets injured by Adam Anderson.
Yep.
This. That is the theme between both Phoenix and Cyrus before their end of the Dark Brotherhood is weakness. So, me doing what I got to do to preserve my title that I had at the time, he became number one contender champion. I foresaw that as he did that on purpose. I was the champion at the time. I was the DBW World Heavyweight Champion at the time. He became the number one contender champion. What am I supposed to do? I was put in a bad spot. So here he is, injured, and his arm in a sling, and he turned his back on me. You don't turn your back on Mr. Judgment. So I gave him a belt shot right to the back of his freaking skull. Mm-hmm. So ends the Dark Brotherhood, which set up our match at Judgment Day, and it's history.
Right.
It's the new Brotherhood. So, of course, me seeing what Paradox did at what he did to Phoenix, retiring him, that obviously showed me that Paradox had a little bit more to give. And Paradox is, I call him the silent assassin. He's very short on words, but my God, does he get it done in this ring.
Yes, he does.
And that's just how he is. That's just how he is. He is a predator. He is a stalker. He's a little weird at that. But he was a perfect fit for the new Brotherhood and how I decided to mold this group.
Yeah.
So he was and then we go to the Hellhound. Mm-hmm. So the Hellhound was an interesting subject. High flyer, risk taker, but was unhinged, uncontrolled, and he needed to be tamed. Brotherhood was his way to be tamed. So, after a match at the event we just had right before Judgment Day, he gave himself up to me.
Right.
To take care of his soul. Okay, Tony? You follow me here?
I follow you.
Okay. So, that's pretty much it. Zach takes care of the high end, the risk takers, anybody who wants to go that route, dominated by Zach the Hellhound. Anybody else who wants a piece of being extreme or wants their ass to be retired, go to Paradox. And anybody else who wants to be completely freaking wrecked, you come to me, and I'll get the job done for you. And by the way, you won't just get your physical body wrecked, but you'll lose your damn soul in the process.
Yeah. All right. So that pretty much covers the whole formation of the new Brotherhood anyways, and what you guys are all about, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Hope that paints a picture.
Paints a pretty good picture, I think. So let's move in to King of the Yard, where we actually seen up in DB and DEW rather, getting my names mixed up, where we actually seen you in the first round match. It was the only match actually during the whole tournament where two guys from the same company would face off when you went one-on-one with new Brotherhood member Paradox.
Yes. So with being members of the same faction, which we were when we went to King of the Yard, that doesn't mean that we're still not going to challenge each other. That's we are always looking to better ourselves. And, it is student the match.
Right.
And put on a hell of a match in that first round of the King of the Yard tournament. And we had said to each other before that match started, it doesn't matter who won the match. We're going to support them 110% because we are the new Brotherhood.
Right.
So I ended up beating Paradox. I ended up squeaking out a Judgment Slam there at the last second. He's hit me with a Dark Hole Slam a few times in the past. I'm not going to lie, and those things are not very pleasant. But I was able to counter his Dark Hole Slam, and that's all she wrote.
Yep. And then that would lead you into going into the second round in a match that stole the show. A lot of people I've talked to have actually said and was perhaps the best match of the whole King of the Yard tournament against Yankee, the difference maker.
So going up against Yankee, it's not very often with a guy like me being 6'4", 250 that there's too many guys that are size or bigger.
Right.
So it causes me to have to readjust my focus towards a match in a way of which I'm not used to doing. And Yankee, the difference maker, is a hell of a talent. He is a hell of a wrestler, which is why he's here in DBW. But him and I going at it, two guys who don't like anybody and each other, that's for sure. Still really
Right.
don't.
Yeah.
There's a difference. I ain't got to like you to respect you. I'll tell you that right now, Yankee. But anyway, we put on a hell of a match. I think we went blow for blow, move for move. We hit,
Yeah.
our big moves. He hit his big moves. I hit my big moves. I hit my judgment slam. He hit his finishing maneuver. Doing, it was a fantastic match for Yankee and I, and he was able to squeak out the victory, and I lost.
That he did, and we
You lose some, and hell, I think he went on going to the finals, if I'm not mistaken.
semifinals. He didn't make it to the finals.
Semi, Semifinals. That's right. He got his ass whooped in the semifinals. That's right.
Yes. And we actually did see something that we're not used to seeing from Yankee in that match too, a suicide dive.
You, just one? How about two?
Couple, yes.
Yeah,
There were
two.
two.
Yeah, yeah. You know what it is to try to see that. I'm just now getting up from the wet ground because it was a torrential monsoon there up in New
Right.
York in the thanks, Devon. And then you put me in the ring with this guy, Yankee, and he freaking suicide dives. Okay, a man that size is not supposed to be able to do suicide dive through the second rope, let alone the bottom rope.
Right.
He's some kind of freak of nature or something. What the hell? So again, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, I'm a big guy too. But I guess you've never seen me do a suicide dive, and you're not gonna. So, that's just how it goes.
It was definitely something that caught many people, including myself, by surprise, and you by the time. So.
Yeah. See, I think he can do a suicide dive and not make it a suicide. If I were to do a suicide dive, I'd probably die. So that's just I'll keep it in the ring and whip ass in the ring. That's how it goes.
Okay. So it was Cameron Jackson that actually would go on to win the King of the Yard tournament over AK-47 in the finals. What was your opinions on
Congrats.
that? Yeah.
That was a fantastic match, fantastic tournament. I think altogether, great concept. BW management, and thank them for the fact that we were able to go up there and show them what we were all about. And I think we definitely left an impression, which is why we were thankful to go up there and do it. But the finals match between Cameron and AK was just fantastic. Match. And at the end, Cameron came out on top, and we're no stranger to Cameron down here in DBW. We've seen him a couple times, and definitely see him here in the future. So, great competitor in Cameron Jackson. Wouldn't mind getting into the ring with him. Wouldn't mind having a piece of that soul. Just saying.
Right. I mean, if you're going to talk about Cameron Jackson and DBW, you'd be remiss not to mention the last man standing match he had there with Nevon McDonald earlier this year.
Total Domination
Yeah.
was Cameron and Devon, their first appearance here in DBW back in March or April of this year. Was a fantastic match. That whole event was just incredible. It was them two going at it. It was a fantastic match. I mean, I don't know if those two had ever really faced before coming to DBW, to be honest.
If I remember correctly, they had never met.
Yeah, and I think in some people's eyes, that was a dream match that we were able to put together here in DBW, and gave them a great platform, and they succeeded and had a great match.
So Yankee says, much respect, brother.
Yes, sir. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, you will, which again we will touch on here in just a few moments. So there has been rumors that there possibly could be a King of the Yard 2 at some point next year. Do you think that's something you would be interested in attending if you got the chance to?
Why not? I think we did a pretty successful job at the first King of the Yard, so I would expect bigger and better things the second time around.
Right. All right. So let's touch on the fact that that was pretty much the first time that we've seen anybody from DBW cross over to another show, other than a few of you guys showed up in KWA, but first time you guys have been part of a big crossover event. Do you think that's something we might see a little more often now?
Yes, the answer is yes. Our schedules this year, because we've been trying to cram so much for DBW, it unfortunately has left us limited in the capacity to travel. But we are looking into some things next year that will free us up a little bit better. We might scale back on the number of shows that we do. Uh, we do anyway.
Right.
Now, to be able to go to travel, represent DBW properly at these big crossover shows. And we are actually going to be working on a huge, huge crossover event next summer with some companies from the East Coast and the Midwest. So it's more details coming soon on that. But the crossover events are, in my opinion, as being a promoter and an owner myself, they're the best thing for backyard wrestling.
Oh, I would agree with that
It's
wholeheartedly.
it's if you can see multiple talents, multiple promotions within one event. And I think that that's what really, having those shows every once in a while is just such a great thing for backyard wrestling right now.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. I'm going to touch on a little bit here. We don't have to talk much about it since obviously you weren't a part of it, but let's talk about Best in the Yard 3 from this year. What
Mm-hmm.
was your overall opinion of the show? Because I'm sure you had to watch it.
I did. Of course I did. Best of the Yard 3 is it's again one of those crossover shows that is one of the meccas of all shows in my opinion. Um, it was a fantastic event. I love where it was staged. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But great matches at that. It was one of the that whenever that was going on, I think we were still kind of light in the water and still kind of fresh. But I think everybody now knows that DBW at the next Best in the Yard. I'll tell you that. But this Best in the Yard was fantastic. I know I've heard a lot of controversy about the main event. Can I touch on that for a second?
Go for it. I was going to get into it, so go ahead.
A perfect segue, right?
Yep.
So the main event, I thought that the main event was fantastic. I thought that, I mean, you have two guys that are arguably some of the best in this business going at it at a huge mega crossover show.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have changed it for anything.
Me neither.
Yeah, I wouldn't anything.
Sorry, you kind of cut out there. What was that?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I wouldn't have changed the main event for anything. I thought it was fine the way it was.
Right. I definitely agree with that. Is there any matches that you want to touch on besides the main event from that show that you enjoyed watching, or maybe you weren't the biggest fan of, perhaps?
Um, I'm trying to think. There was quite a few good matches,
Oh yeah.
great matches. Um, I believe it was who did Drew Hood go up against?
Oh, the last emotion, Novin, of course.
All right. I don't know if you want to touch on this now or touch on this later. Uh, that match was intriguing to me
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of reasons.
That's another
The
good segue.
first reason, okay, so the first reason is Drew Hood and Novin are amazing, amazing
Mm-hmm.
talents, amazing competitors. So that to me would have been, if I have to pick one of my many dream matches that I'm not involved in, that would have been one. That would have been one. Huge characters, huge gimmicks, going at it in a fantastic match at a huge show. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Right.
Now, and it was a great storyline build-up, by the way, before the show. Just
Yes.
fantastic.
I mean, especially when you
Which
think of the fact that that match wasn't originally supposed to take place.
correct, correct. Which kind of leads me into this whole purpose. If I can kind of bring everything full circle,
Go for it.
Novin. So you have this guy named Novin, and correct me if I'm wrong, Novin was supposed to die,
Sure.
correct?
Yes, that would be correct.
And he was pulled away from death. Is that correct?
Pretty much what it sounds like. Yes.
Okay, from how I understand it, his son, his putrid, pathetic son, pulled him away from death. Well, see, that's where now I'm involved. I know it's kind of weird. It's like you have Jordan, and then you have Mr. Judgment now being pulled into the fray, and which is leading us to this match, Eve, which is Mr.
Right.
Judgment versus Navon. You see, Navon, whenever he did that, he tampered with the unnatural force that control this world, and he prevented me from doing my job. Okay, my job as Mr. Judgment is to judge souls. Novin was up to judge, and he was pulled away by his decrepit, pathetic son. So, through Navon, after I destroy him, I will take care of his son and properly judge his soul, which should have been done in the first place. Sorry, I'm trying to stay pleasant here. It's getting difficult.
Yeah.
Whenever my other side kicks in, just that's how it kind of goes.
Right. It's understandable. So obviously, that's a match, as you mentioned. You and Navon McDonald will take place at All Hallows Eve. You want to go into some more details about that show tomorrow?
Yeah, me and one of the matches is myself and the King of the Mountain, Yvonne McDonald, which I'm sure everybody has seen his promo, his video.
Yep.
And I'm sure everyone has seen my video that I shot on him.
Right.
So let me get to the other first, please. I'll get sidetracked. Okay, yep. So we have quite a few matches at All Hallows Eve. This is our Halloween show, and I can kind of do a little 360 here. I'm of course, standing in our entranceway, and we've kind of decorated for the event. Nice. This arena is going to be packed tomorrow at 1 p.m. It's going to be fantastic. But we have a lot of great matches. We have the first ever All Hallows Cup tournament, which is a huge tournament. Many competitors involved in that match or in those series of matches. And it's going to be winner advances. And it's all going to happen at one show. 10-minute time limits for each of the matches involved. So you're going to have 4 rounds of this tournament in one show, in one day. So you have that huge, which at the end, the winner will be awarded the All Hallows Cup trophy, which is only done at All Hallows Eve once a year. Then you also have OC, which is the new competitor who I, was in the ring with at the last show, going against the gamer Jim Connors, who is from UWF and has recently signed with us here in DBW. And if OC wins, he gets his contract. And then you have XHW, another company that we partner with and have partnered with, Extreme Hardcore Wrestling. They have it'll be MP3, who is the XHW champion, putting his title on the line against Jay Madness. Those two have been going at it for years and know each other like the back of their hands. So it should be a great match for the XHW World title. Then you have Casey James going one-on-one with the DBW World Champion Cyrus. Those two also very familiar with each other. And Cyrus has been probably the most dominant wrestler this year in DBW. He has not lost a match this year at all. So he's been undefeated this whole entire year. Has been a tag team champion this year, has been a number one contender champion this year, and has been DBW World Champion this year. So he is the dominant figure here in backyard wrestling and has defended his title successfully twice since winning it, and one of which was against me. The other one is against Scorpion, which the video was just posted. So that is going to be an incredible, incredible match. I cannot wait. Then you're going to have the gimmick match of the event. You're going to have the extraterrestrials, the former extraterrestrials, former DBW Tag Team Champions in 2016. These are aliens. They're friggin' aliens. Like, I'm not talking about the illegal aliens that cross over the border. I'm talking about Mars aliens. Some crazy stuff here. You're Gogol and Golgar and Bone Daddy, the voodoo witch doctor himself, in a triple threat match. And this isn't just a triple threat match. It's a triple threat pinata match.
Oh, all right.
So, I don't know. You got two aliens. You got a voodoo witch doctor in a pinata match. I got to talk.
Strange things will happen, I'm sure.
The members of DBW management to see who had this idea. Oh wait, it was me. Shit. So,
I was gonna say it sounded like something Commissioner Burford would have come up with, but okay.
Yeah, no, he's crazy. He's lazy and does nothing. So the whole purpose of that match, the winner of that match, is the first person to bust a pinata that's going to be hanging over top the ring. So whoever wins that match is going to be showered with candied jewels, and I'm sure there's going to be little kids that are be storming the ring like Tasmanian devils, which I would definitely get out of the way of. But yeah, two aliens, voodoo witch doctor, pinata match. Okay. So it's fantastic. It's going to be so good. And then, of course, you got my match with Navon McDonald, that weasel who schemed out of getting the soul that was owed to me, which is of his putrid father. And I can assure you this, Tony. Match with Mr. Judgment and Navon. Mr. Judgment and Navon. You're not going to look at Navon McDonald the same way again. And I also need to mention something else. This was just a little tidbit of information. This match was originally a triple threat match.
Yep.
It was originally supposed to be myself, Navon McDonald, and the Dark Side.
Correct.
Has been wanting to get in the ring with Mr. Judgment for months. And again, I don't know if it's following in the footsteps of Victor Van Pelt. Got scared. So, it is what it is, and I'd rather have Navon McDonald to myself anyway, so I don't need any other distractions or any little ankle biters biting my feet. So, yeah, it'll be me destroying Navon McDonald as only Mr. Judgment can.
Right. It'll definitely be a very good and interesting match to watch, I'm sure, once we get the chance to see it here. And
Oh, yes.
All right. So we know that's coming up. Is there anything else that we know of that you'll be involved in soon?
All right. Let's see. We are going to be in connections with working with VTW with possibly some future crossover shows. Maybe a DBW versus VTW in the future. Could be. We also would like to work some more with BEW and all that they have. And anybody who wants to come down here to DBW, I mean, we're in a prime location here in Pennsylvania. We're right in the middle of the East Coast, literally. I'm right on the Maryland-PA border. And we're indoors, 16 by 16-foot ring. I've got a great entranceway, and I've got competition that you're not going to find better anywhere else. I'll tell you that right now. So we're planning, of course, All Hallows Eve is tomorrow. And then we have one more show, which is looking like it's going to be the very beginning, our first ever show in December 2nd-ish, for our last show to finish off the 2017 season. And I guess I can announce this on your show for the first time, that there has been the first match been confirmed by DBW management.
Oh, well, that's
Are you there?
yeah. I'm here. You were.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
It will be the Outcasts, which are the current DBW Tag Team Champions, going against myself and Paradox, the New Brotherhood, for the tag team titles. You heard it
Wow,
first here.
that's breaking news and very, very good breaking news.
Oh yes, those the Outcasts won the titles back at Judgment Day and have been great champions. Virtual newcomers this year to DBW and have been fantastic. Just being able to see them grow in the company has been fantastic. But that growth hits an end at the December event with the New Brotherhood.
Okay, so that would definitely be an interesting match to see. But I gotta ask you, I'll bring this topic up. The tag team division there in DBW seems like it's pretty stacked. The tag team division. Oh, go ahead.
You ain't, you ain't kidding.
Right. I mean, you don't really see tag team divisions that much in other companies. I know VTW is starting to get one going, but really in backyard wrestling, you don't see them that much. But who
You,
are some of the other tag teams? Go ahead.
Yeah, we the tag team division has been something that we've been looking to grow for a while, and it's something that we put on a pedestal here in DBW. We know it's difficult because just getting that much talent, enough
Right.
tag team be a tag team division, and I think we're one of the few that have a very very deep tag team division. We have, of course, the Outcasts. We have the New Brotherhood. We have the Puerto Rican Dynasty. We have the Brothers Creed. And then we have RJ and Blaze when they team up, the Future Industry. And then we have the Extraterrestrials whenever they are not fighting each other in a pinata match against a voodoo witch doctor.
Right.
We are just so deep at tag teams. And, I can say this. When Paradox and I win those DBW tag team championships, any tag team in backyard wrestling, if you're feeling froggy, get your ass up here and we'll put you down.
Gonna say there was one tag team I know that appeared there recently that the video hasn't been uploaded yet. That I think would be a pretty good matchup for you and Paradox to face.
Who's that?
That would be the Murder Club.
Murder Club. Oh, God. I was hoping to get through this entire interview without you mentioning the Murder Club. Okay.
I had to do it.
Can I just put my little spin on this?
Go
My
for it.
little spin. Okay, here. By the way, can you see me?
No, can't. But we can hear you.
I don't know. Okay, good. All right, good. All right, so the Murder Club. Two aspects of it. First aspect as the president and owner of DBW. The Murder Club, the members of the Murder Club that have been here and that are here, fantastic competitors. Absolutely great, from Yankee himself to Samael, the newest member of the Murder Club.
Yep.
Of course, Casey James, Adam Anderson, great competitors, and have won championships here in DBW. So can't take that away from them. Now, Mr. Judgment, the Mr. Judgment and the Murder Club. See, started whenever the Murder Club interfered in my match at a KWA show in December of last year.
All right.
I was in a match with Johnny Reed and Hell. And the match was going absolutely my way. Perfect. And then out of nowhere, I get jumped by like 8 Murder Club members. It was disgusting. But you know what happened at the end of that? This was Victor Van Pelt's initiation into the Murder Club. This is when he joined the Murder Club.
Right.
Maybe you should ask Cameron Jackson what happened at the end of that. He took a judgment slam right in the middle of the ring as his fellow Murder Club members just stood there in awe and watched his fall 8 feet in the air down to the ground. Happened to me. So Mr. Judgment has had a problem with the Murder Club since that event because I don't know what was provoked If they saw Mr. Judgment as a threat, that's just how it's been. Now, Mr. Judgment lately hasn't had too much involvement in the Murder Club. Thank God for them. Or I'd be about 10 more souls deep right now. But I'm sure as the day is light that we will cross paths. I can tell you that right now.
So I'm sure it'll happen. I just think it'd be an interesting match to see you and Paradox versus Yankee and Rick Rios. We ever got that chance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We've invited Rick Rios down here before, and we're hoping that he can make it because I would love nothing more than for my brethren, Paradox and I, to put them down in their place and have them bowing to our feet.
We would have to wait and see if that happened. If they
You will see it.
if they get the chance to show to come down.
That is true.
All right. So I want to get from you can name as many as you want to. Any dream matches that you have that you haven't had a chance to face yet?
Dream matches that I have not had yet. I would say I have a few. First one is Novin. I just think that Mr. Judgment, the character of Mr. Judgment versus the character of Novin, is just a match made in hell to me.
Right.
I mean, it's just be amazing, a colossal match. Two of the darkest figures in backyard wrestling going at it. I mean, as a fan, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Another dream match I would have. I would love to be in the ring with Cameron Jackson. Our paths have not really crossed ever, with the exception of that one time he got Judgment Slammed.
Right.
I'm sure that leaves a sour taste in his mouth, but anyway. I would love to be in the ring with Cameron Jackson. Another guy, Drew Hood. I would love to face Drew Hood. I love his character. He's great in the ring. Veteran experience, and I think that we could tear the house down. One more.
Okay.
And we've had verbal disputes in the past, but didn't amount to anything more than that. I would love to go against W's James Blade. Vancouver Backyard Wrestling in Canada. They're a huge backyard wrestling federation, and James Blade has been their top heel for at least 10 years. Veteran guy. We had a war of words last summer, and it was awesome. And I would love to be in the ring with James Blade.
Nice.
That's about it, I think, as far as dream matches go.
All right.
It'd be dream match for me and nightmare for them. So
Right. Those are some good picks, I would say. Got to mention, Paradox did chime in that the Murder Club will be the murdered club after crossing paths with the New Brotherhood.
I can't. You know what? The few words that comes out of Paradox's mouth, I cannot disagree with. He preaches to the choir. Okay. I have to back up my in Paradox, and he will be at my side at All Hallows Eve whenever I destroy Navon McDonald.
Something Navon will have to make sure he watches out for. So I want to get your opinion on. Now, I haven't seen the video yet. I've seen a little bit of the video, I should say. Adam Anderson, who will be a guest on the show at some point within the next week or two, had quite the ladder match recently in DBW. What was your opinions of the suplex, if I remember correctly, off the top of that he gave?
Oh, it was a sunset flip. That jackass.
Yes.
Oh, Tony. I'm not a high flyer and I'm not a risk taker. And he proved my point as to why. I'm going to live a lot longer than him, and I'm 10 years older than the freaking kid. Jumps
Right.
off, he freaking does a sunset flip off a 10-foot high ladder through another ladder that's laying on top of two chairs. What did you think was going to happen
Right.
out of that? What a jackass. Yeah, okay, he's gonna get tons of views for that video, but it's not because of the match. It's because of that move, and he had to almost die to get it.
True.
Jackass. That's what I think about that, Tony. He's a jackass. Friggin', he weighs 87 pounds, soaking wet. God. That's Adam Anderson. God.
I know he's out of action for who knows how long
Oh,
because of that. So
jackass. He's a #1 contender champion, and he blew it on, JJ Genovese doing a stupid sunset flip through a goddamn ladder. I almost, it wasn't expected, but I almost had to take his soul, Tony, to my realm.
right.
Damn him.
Uh, Damon Scar, the Outcast, is watching,
Damon Scar.
and King Dominator says wants to know if you would be willing to offer to give him a contract in the future if he could come to DBW.
Hey, you know what? Here's how this goes. If you come here and you show that, you have what it takes to be part of the dominant force in backyard wrestling here in DBW, we don't shy away from anybody. We are the land of opportunity here. If you want to come and show us what you got, we'll give you the platform to do it, and then we'll talk after that.
Fair enough, in my opinion.
That's right, buddy.
All right. So anybody and everybody that's watching, please feel free to keep the comments going, questions. Don't mind asking anything. So I'm sure Mr.
Oh, yeah.
doesn't mind answering anything.
No. Oh, I will answer anything. I will answer what you ask me. I will answer what you don't want to ask me, and I will tell you what you don't want to hear.
True.
You see, Tony, while you're waiting for these, mortals to chime in with their little questions, let me explain to you the reason for Mr. Judgment's being. The reason for my being is because this world is shot to hell. I mean, look what's happening every day in the news. I mean, it's a disgrace. It is just decrepit what's happening. This is truly becoming hell on earth.
Sure.
So it needs a gateway for me to come in and do my job. And my job is to do God's dirty work. That is essentially my job. Souls come to me to get judged. Do I send them to heaven? Do I send them to hell? And then I send them on their way. But it is by my power that I decide who goes where. And that's why Mr. Judgment exists. So Mr. Judgment exists today because of all of you. So I don't no crying, no bitching, and no moaning whenever you're crying at my feet not to be bathed in the lake of fire.
Very nice.
Does that make sense to
you? It makes sense.
How's a little promo monologue there?
That's nice. Very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. King Dominator says, yes, man, don't worry. I'll do my best because wrestling is not just a career for me. It's a life for me. I'll do anything to be in any wrestling fed. But if you want to check out my company, it's called KEW Backyard Wrestling after the show.
All right. Good. Hey, brother, listen. I completely agree with him. Backyard wrestling is something that is a way of life. It is something that we choose to do because we want to do it. This is not something that we have to do. And right. being in this business for 17 years, I mean, that is a long time. And I'm 32 years old. I don't have a lot of time left. And, if I can just take some of what I know and what, has worked for me and just, share it with these young guys that are up and comers who can keep this going. That's what it's all about, because backyard wrestling a few years ago was in a bad spot. And you know that, Tony. It was not in a way. And then, you had companies that started to come up like VTW, VBW, BEW,
UWE,
ESW, EWE, these other great companies that, kept strong through those hard times, that paved the way for companies like mine to have, I don't want to say an easier way in, but the exposure is already there because of these great companies, and to add our great talent to the mix is something special, that we can do. And I thank all those companies that have, groundwork for us to continue to build upon. And that's what we do here in DBW. We show appreciation and are so thankful to everybody who's done this in the past, that's still with us, that's not with us, and everybody that comes along in the future, that's able to do this. So I just look at it like, I'm one of the veterans of the company, and there's other guys that have been wrestling in DBW just about as long as I have, and
Right.
we just hope to leave our mark here for as long as we can for some of these new guys to step up and take our place.
Yep. So, where was I going to go with that? On the topic of DBW, as we're speaking of company again, um, who would you say you think is going to be someone, one person, or maybe a couple people to really watch out for in this tournament at All Hallows Eve once we get a chance to see that uploaded?
Yeah, this All Hallows Eve. I mean, we've got some first time ever matches that are going to happen just because that's how it's going to go. We have guys that have never fought each other that will be competing in this tournament. Of course, I'm going to have to go with my two brethren, Zach the Hellhound Romig and Paradox.
Right.
Always watching for. But of course, you've got Yankee, the difference maker in this tournament. I mean, you've seen how
Yes,
good
sir.
he can do it.
Yep.
Involved. You've got and some really great up and comers that are in this tournament. You have the tag team champions; they're each in this tournament.
Right.
You have Striker, who is formerly of KWA and who's with us here in DBW and is really spreading his name out there. And my God, he wrestled with us last year and just to see his progression of where he started and to where he's come to it. I mean, he is a phenomenal talent.
Yeah.
You've got Sam Il, formerly known as Gas Chamber, in this tournament. I mean,
The strike will
crazy.
be facing in the first round.
Oh yeah, they're facing each other in the first round. They're going to kill each other. So
Right.
it's probably going to. I don't know. So you've got some great names. You got the Blaze, freaking Anarchy champion right now. Did you see that match? It was insane.
Yeah.
Got the Blaze that's in this tournament, who's the ultimate underdog, but somehow squeaks away to win at 11 years old. It's disgusting. There's so many great competitors. You got the guy who's on this, watching us is Damon Scar, another fantastic competitor. We have the World Extreme Champion RJ Carnage in this damn tournament.
Right.
So we know how crazy he is.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've got some great talent. Jim Connors from UWF and a new member here to DBW. We have a new guy named Sega Punk. He's going to be here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You got Mysterion. So I mean, you've got Ricky Colon and other members of the Puerto Rican dynasty. Ken Rivera. They're both going to be in the tournament. So it's just it's becoming a who's who. And I'll tell you what, I mean, like I said, interesting matchups that can happen out of this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know who's going to take it because, I mean, there are just so many great possibilities. I know this as a fan, and I will be commentating those matches. I am just so looking forward to that.
Right. Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see. You don't see tournaments that often in backyard wrestling either. So.
Right, let alone one day.
Right.
These wrestlers, I mean, I give them massive props. They have to, wrestle in, 3 to 4 10-minute matches, but they don't even know who they're facing to prepare against.
Right.
So, and I think it leads to the excitement of these tournaments. So I think it's going to be absolutely awesome to see who comes away with the first ever All Hallows Cup trophy.
Whoever it is, more than likely will have to go through 4 other people so in one day.
Oh yeah, that's. I'm glad I'm not in that tournament. I'm glad I got a cakewalk match.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but
Oh, I'm going that far, too.
you can, but I don't think I would.
King of nothing.
All right. I think Dominic also says he's glad he's here because you're very entertaining, Mr. Judgment. No doubt it's a fact. No respect for you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that, King Dominator. That's one thing that we pride ourselves here in DBW is we try to put on, the greatest matches that we can as far as athleticism, while trying to be as entertaining as possible. And like I said, Tony, we have some of the best talent I've ever seen from all weight classes, sizes, ages, backgrounds, ethnicities. We have it here in DBW. So much of a diverse roster. It's amazing, which makes DBW that much more special.
So I don't know how much you want to go into this since it hasn't been uploaded yet, but I do know there was a couple other guys from VTW we could see in the videos that have been posted that did show up at Danger Zone. I believe.
Oh yes, that this coming week.
Yeah. If,
Well, I don't know how much you want me to give away, but here's the thing. I mean, I could say whatever I want. It didn't take away from how amazing the match was. So, I mean, you had what was originally supposed to be, I believe it was supposed to be Kevin Shaw. That's what we booked here in DBW.
mm-hmm.
And then, all of a sudden they're about ready to start the match. And then I believe it was Ecstatic's music hit.
Okay.
And we're like, what the hell is this guy doing here? So coming up here from North Carolina, we didn't even know he was going to be booked. So, you know what? The commissioner decided, just throw him in the damn match. So we're like, okay. So they all three get ready. And another guy's music hit, that Jones, interfered in my damn match at the end and tried to talk. I put him in his place anyway. He decided to get in the match, which made it a fatal four-way. It was away from those guys. It was a fantastic match. What started out to be a one-on-one competition, escalated to a triple threat, then escalated again to a fatal four-way at, DBW Danger Zone. It was absolutely fantastic. You just wait till you see that match. VTW at its finest right there.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure with those four guys being involved in it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Four of the top guys. Well, not be very top, but still top guys of VTW anyways.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they're some of the best talent walking God's green earth right now.
All right. Is there anything else you want to mention about Danger Zone before I move into the next segment? Or
from Danger Zone, Danger Zone is one of our special events that we hold. It's one of our few events that we bring back every year, and it's an event where every match has a stipulation, so there's no regular. At this year's Danger Zone, we saw everything from a Falls Count Anywhere match to an elimination match to a strap match to an Armageddon match to a no disqualification match, no holds bar. I mean, we saw a little bit of everything. We saw, what was it, a best 2 out of 3 falls match. So much great matches with great stipulations, and it's very exciting. And it typically gets a good response whenever we put it up too, because it's a lot of different matches, a lot of variety.
Right. And anything else to lead into All Hallows Eve tomorrow?
All Hallows Eve, buddy. This is our first Halloween show we've ever had, and it's of course, build up to be a crazy event right now. You've got the DBW World Championship on the line. You've got the All Hallows Eve tournament. You've got contracts. I mean, you've got my match with that that other guy. You've got some crazy. You got some crazy matches that are bound to happen at this event, and with the way that tournament's going to go, I mean, who knows who's going to face each other? I mean, you could end up seeing some epic encounters that you never thought you would see here in DBW. So it's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait.
Right. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a very entertaining show. That's for sure.
Oh, you got it, buddy.
All right. So I'm going to put you kind of in the hot seat here now with pretty much my favorite segment of the show. Put you in an elimination chamber match.
Oh.
Who are the 5 backyard wrestlers that you're putting in there against yourself?
5 guys to be in the ring with in an Elimination Chamber match.
Yep.
Huh. It put me on the hot seat. Damn it, Tony. God. All right, so I'm going to shoot from. I'm going to say Novin. I'm going to say James Blade. Cameron Jackson. I'm going to say. Let's see. I'm going to say Yankee. And the 5th competitor. Oh, boy. I'm going to say it's a guy who kind of retired, but I wish he would get back into it. He's a former DBW world champion and a veteran of DBW, the Exterminator.
Okay.
I would put him in the match as well. So those would be my 5 guys. I think we would tear that place down.
Out of those 5 guys, who would be the last person you eliminate to win the match?
I would eliminate them all at the same time. I don't know what you're talking about. No, okay. If I had to pick one, the last guy in. Oh boy. Man. Ugh. Stop it, Tony. I'd probably say let's go with. Damn it. I'll go with Cameron Jackson.
Nice.
I can see him climbing to the top of the cage and doing a black toad splash. Son of a bitch.
That would be a sight to see. That's for sure. All right. So off of that, you win the Elimination Chamber match and get to see the chance to main event a Best in the Yard. Who would you face and for what title?
I'm sorry, what was that?
So you win the Elimination Chamber. It gives you the chance to main event Best in the Yard. Who would you face and for what title? And it doesn't have to be a current champion.
So who would I face and for what title?
Mm-hmm.
Well, to me, for me personally, and I'm kind of biased, but the DBW World Championship is, our top title. It is the most prestigious prize to me. Right. So it would be for that title. And if I could go on to face anybody, damn it, Tony. When do I get off this hot seat? My ass is frying right now. God. Let's see if I can put anyone. I'm trying not to pick someone that was in the Elimination Chamber match. God. Killing me. You're killing me.
Gotta do
it. Let's go with say one guy I didn't mention. I would like to go against Drew Hood.
All right. It's a good pick.
And I would whip his ass from the north to the south to the east to the west.
And you can't leave out the BR.
How that means. I'll get into that gimmickry.
Yeah. Just hoping that he's actually still going to be around here soon and not retiring.
Oh, I have not his soul yet. So as far as he's not dead, no. So he's still going to compete. Trust me.
I'd hope so. BYW wouldn't be the same without the megastar. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a hell of a prize up on my shelf.
So I want to get your opinion on a topic that I've touched on a little bit lately with some of my guests. You guys seem to have them a little more than what other companies do. Stipulation matches.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on them? Do you think that there's too little of them in backyard wrestling, or do you think there's too much of them?
All right, so here's my always been my perspective and my outlook on stipulations. I think you have to be very careful. So we here in DBW, we typically don't do many stipulation matches because of this reason. Now, with the exception of Danger Zone, because that's like a once a year event. Beyond that, why are you smiling?
I'll get into that. Just go ahead and finish what you're saying.
Tony, who? Okay, fine. I'll finish. All right. So stipulation matches, you have to be careful because if you have too many stipulation matches, like for example, if you have too many hardcore matches, it can take away from the fact that it's a hardcore match.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very careful with stipulation matches. I think it has to be like a 20% ratio of your shows. Just because whenever you do have that stipulation, whatever it is, it's that much more special because it's something that you don't get to see very often.
Right.
As a promoter and what I've seen.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'll get into the topic of some specific stipulations that I brought up on the last couple shows. But since you want to know what I was smiling about, I'll let you know.
The hell are you
Well,
smiling
well,
about?
well. Mr. Judgment, Navon's got a question for you. Ain't it nice to reflect on your career when you know it's about to be up?
Who is that?
The King of the Mountain.
God. Oh, you know what? Navon, you better just be doing this. I'm sure you're going to be in that car on your long ass ride down here to Shippensburg from wherever the hell you live at in New York. And you're going to be saying every single last right. You're going to be reflecting. That whole car ride is going to be a reflection of me reminiscing on my career. It's going to be a reflection of your life and how your father has let you down and how you bringing him back from the dead your downfall, Navon. It is your fault. It is your fault, Navon. We're having this match, and you're going to pay. And you're going to pay dearly, Navon McDonald.
He would go on to say, you had a long ride, Mr. Judgment, and I'm fixing to put a stop to it in your ring.
Oh, is that so? You don't think I've heard that shit before? Navon McDonald, King of the Hill, get out of here. There is no mountain tall enough that you can be the king of that I will not crush beneath my feet, Navon McDonald. Piece of garbage.
Says, see you in 24 hours.
Face. Oh. Yeah, if I don't take his soul before then.
All right. And I suppose I gotta give him a hallelujah and amen, he says.
Oh, I don't need your amen. Keep that sacrament to yourself. I'll make sure to douse you in holy water tomorrow.
It would be interesting. But nonetheless.
Oh, you.
Go on. One of the matches that I had brought up that I didn't think you see too much of in backyard wrestling that could be done more is like a last man standing match.
Mm-hmm.
Is that? Would you agree with that? That it's something that could be done more often in backyard wrestling that you don't see much of?
I think so. Now, last man standing matches. Again, I think it's they're typically long matches. So it's got to be very, very hyped up match, in my opinion, against competitors who can perform in that kind of match. Because I don't think every kind of match is for every competitor.
Right.
Complement matches with wrestlers that are going to complement that match itself and keep it entertaining for that time frame. So the last man standing match is a match, and your stamina has to be 110% for those matches. I've only competed in, I believe, one in my career, which I was successful, but I mean, it was a horrible, horrible match. I mean, just took so much out of me. I remember I couldn't wrestle for after that at all. I couldn't even touch a ring. So it was it's a tough match, man. It's a great match. Don't get me wrong, but it's a tough one.
Right. Is there any specific stipulation match that you can think of that you'd like to see more of in backyard wrestling that we don't see?
Well, I know ones I would not like to see more of, which are ladder matches. How you doing?
Yeah.
Ladder matches are horrible. I'd like to meet the person who invented the ladder match and kick him in the shins really friggin' hard. But anyway, some matches I would like to see more of. I think 3 stages of
Oh yeah.
hell. A proponent of hell, so that's all good with me.
Right.
That would be a great match. I think we had a four-corner strap match. I don't think that's a match that you hear of very often at all.
No, you don't.
That's an interesting one. Um, Let me see. I mean, we try to get creative here in DBW with some of our stipulations. Like, for example, I created the Armageddon match. I mean, it's a grueling match, 30 minutes, and then whoever hits the most finishers, which is your biggest move in the 30 minutes, wins.
Yeah.
I think that that's a great concept. And every Armageddon match we've had, which there's only been 3 in the history of DBW, I mean, has been amazing.
Right.
Uh, I think uh, I think that's it. I haven't seen an Iron Man match in a long time.
Yeah, there don't seem to be that many of those too. But the last one I really remember seeing was at Best in the Yard, and that was 15 minutes. Which, if you're gonna do an Iron Man match, in my opinion, it should be at least 30, if not 60 minutes, not no 15 minutes.
Agree. And it kind of led that way that our Heaven's Gate match at Judgment Day was, a little actually over 60 minutes. But
Right.
I'll tell you what, I do not want to do those matches very often at all. It just, like I said to you before, it just takes so much out of you. And you lose so much out of those matches because it just takes so much. It's one of the most difficult matches.
Right. Now, one match that was brought up to me, I think it was an Ecstatic show actually. He mentioned it, and I want to know what your opinions of it was. If somehow somebody was able to create in backyard wrestling a steel cage match.
Oh, just a steel cage match?
Yeah.
Actually, something that we've thought about here. It's something that we may be looking into here in the near future. So it's just to see that ominous steel surrounding the ring is just a sight in and of itself, let alone the carnage that's going to happen in the match. So it's definitely one of those special matches. But again, it's one of those matches where you're going to lose a lot coming out of it. You're definitely not the same after you leave it.
Right. And the last stipulation match I want to touch on that I definitely would say you don't see much of, and people could play with it more if they did use it, is a first blood match.
First blood match. Yeah, those I've only been involved in one of those in my career. Um, and it that can be one of those brutal matches because you're literally trying to maim your damn opponent. So it kind of takes away your whole mindset of trying to hit maneuvers to lead up to your finishing maneuver and then literally trying to bust them open in whatever way that you can.
Right.
Completely different mindset, and I'll keep those kind of matches for the hardcore division, the World Extreme division for us here. You won't see me in any of that bullshit.
Yeah. Not a big fan of them, huh?
No, no. I'm good with keeping the blood inside the body where it belongs. Now, it's the same as not being said for the soul. The soul belongs to me outside your body.
Yeah, that's the reason I partially said you could play with it, because obviously you don't always have to blade or whatever you want to call it and have real blood, but still, either way.
Indeed.
Um, there's a few people watching still. If you guys got any more questions, comments, feel free to put them in the comment section. It's dying down a little bit there. I know there's a few people in there still.
It's been some pretty good questions, and so I think.
Yeah, got a couple more questions still. So, moving to the next one while we wait and see. Kind of touched on it a little bit, but what's the future look like for Mr. Judgment beyond? Let's go with beyond this year.
Beyond this year. So the future next year and beyond for Mr. Judgment. Well, my top priority to me is to always get back my DBW World Championship. me, I held that title for a little over 3 months. And, that is the top prize in our game. That is who is the best of the best. Always out to prove that I am the best of the best. Whether I hold that title or not, my goal is always to get back to what is rightfully mine, and that is that DBW World Championship. Beyond that, Mr. Judgment is looking to conquer backyard wrestling with whatever names are thrown at his way, whether it be Navon McDonald, whether it be Aaron Jones, whether it be Novin, whether it be any piece of trash that comes in my way. Out, and I will take their soul in the process. So my goal is DBW Gold and to claim as many souls as humanly possible. Or should I
Fair enough.
say, inhumanly possible.
Right. All right. So is there anybody else in DBW that you think people should be watching out for that maybe they don't really pay that close of attention to?
Yeah, everybody.
Fair enough
Seriously.
answer.
I think we just have. I can't name one guy, Tony. That's the problem.
Right.
We just have so many competitors that have such a bright future with the remaining of this year, next year, and beyond. It is just unreal. Some of the talent that we have across all aspects of backyard wrestling. Um, you know, just so much young talent, so much experienced talent that we have. It's such a wide variety, and it meshes so well to make us, DBW. The one thing that I hear about everyone that comes to DBW is just, wow, the atmosphere here is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that we put on these characters and we are who we say we are, but behind the scenes, I mean, the respect level that everyone has for everybody else is through the roof. It is unmeasurable because it's so high. Everybody appreciates and respects what everybody does here and realizes how much passion everybody has here to do what we love to do in backyard wrestling. So much to look forward to with DBW. I promise you will not be disappointed.
Gotcha. So I'll kind of build off of that question a little bit. Do you think there's one person who's right on the cusp of being into and will soon be in the main event picture that's not currently?
Yes. I think a guy that you got to watch out for, two guys, and one of which you're going to see tomorrow. You will see as soon as we get it out. Casey James, he's a guy that's right on the cusp. And then another guy is RJ Carnage. He fought me back earlier this year,
Mm-hmm.
Primal Origins, and when I was issuing open challenges. I did not expect to get an open challenge from him, of all people. But I'll tell you what, he took me for a ride, and this is the first time ever in the him, and man, did we put on a great match. But he is right there, right on the cusp of greatness.
And I know he's one of them that appeared a few times in KWA as well. So
Yes, he did. Formerly KWA.
ECW back then, I guess. So you might not be able to answer this question fully or not. You might be able to. Who knows? Do you think there'll come a time in place, perhaps at some point, that we will see you and Victor Van Pelt eventually face off, like we were originally going to see?
As I've said before, I'm never one to shy away from giving someone an opportunity there I am, wants to opportunity to anybody who wants it. And this is not the first time that DBW has had an issue with Victor Van Pelt. So I would still love to face the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's just one of those things that, the ball is in his court, so to speak.
Right.
It really is, because he knows where to find me and he knows where to get his ass whipped. So, I mean, that's just how it goes, Diamonds will shatter by my power. That's just how it goes, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
For Tony, it's whatever he decides. Whenever he decides to man up and bring his ass down here, I will gladly whip it for him.
Fair enough. So you kind of touched on another company here earlier, and that'd be one that's run by Yankee, being Proving Ground.
Mm-hmm.
There is a couple guys from DBW that are there in Proving Ground, being Hellhound and Samael and Striker. Do you think there is possible chance for more guys from DBW to show up there at some point?
I think so. I am never one to constrict the talent that we have here to DBW to just DBW. If they have the opportunity to go out there and put their name out there with any company that's willing to have them, and Proving Grounds is a great spot. And Yankee has put on some hellacious shows up there. I question his champion.
Right.
Proving Grounds has been a good, and I think the whole purpose of Proving Grounds is to help build up guys to the next level.
Yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
pretty much.
And I think that's a great platform to do it. And I think Yankee's the perfect guy to do it. He's got more experience than he knows what to do with, and to be able to share his experience with the especially new up and comers. I mean, I don't think there's anybody else better to learn from.
Right. So, do you have any stories or anything you want to share from the time that you spent there in New York when you were there for King of the Yard tournament?
Um, it was a hellaciously long drive. Oh my god. And Paradox puts on these. He has his own separate channel, and they're called Paradox Talks. He does those, and then he does these other videos where he documents our whole trip.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something that goes on. So I remember for that particular show, we had stopped at a Sonic restaurant,
Right.
and it was the worst experience I've ever had in my life. Well, first of all, our order was like 10 miles long because I had like five guys in the car, five people in the car. And then, from what I can remember, the person taking our order was like, just talked so ridiculous and monotone or whatever he did. I mean, we were just dying,
Mm-hmm.
but freaking song. That and also about that trip going up to King of the Yard was the great people that we got to meet at that show. That was the first time I had ever met anyone from VTW, and a lot of the guys besides Navon and Cam that I met for the first time, really up there. Just a great experience, like I said, to put on, to be a part of those shows and be able to network the way that you can with those shows, and to get the exposure and experience with doing that. That's irreplaceable, and it's such a fantastic thing to do. So it was a great experience for us for that. But other than the Sonic story, it went pretty smooth, I guess.
That's good.
It's a long drive. God, it's so long.
Yeah. All right. So, for the people that are watching, we're getting closer to the end of my questions. So, if anybody does have any comments or questions, feel free to put them in there. Nobody said anything in quite a while. So, um, if you've got anything you want to just put in there, go ahead and do that too, Mr. Judgment.
Oh, um, yeah. So I'm gonna beat Navon's ass like his daddy should have done. How about that? How about that, Navon? And trust me, after tomorrow, I will have your father's attention. You just wait. You just wait. Oh, it's gonna be glorious.
And he's still in here. We'll see if he responds to that one.
No, he probably won't.
Eh.
He's scared.
But anyway,
He's scared. He's a girl.
kind of builds off of what you were talking about earlier. Do you think that you'll ever have any pro aspirations again, that you'd want to go into the Indies and perhaps have a chance to go pro? Or is backyard pretty
It
much what you're going to be doing?
it has crossed my mind. I'm not gonna lie, but to be honest, for every time I think about, maybe I should give it another shot. I just think about how much fun I have here in DBW, and every time we get to travel. It's such a great experience, and you just meet such great people, and the freedom level is what I love. Like I said, my Mr. Judgment character is able to be a larger than life character for backyard wrestling. I love that, and love to meet all the other characters and great people that do this for a hobby, if you want to say that.
Right.
So I'll go back to being pro. I know the door's still open. Um, I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. Time will tell.
Gotcha. At least with backyard wrestling, I guess you can do it long as your body's willing to let you, for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm still holding up pretty good. At my age, I'm still putting on. I would think some pretty high ranked matches. I would hope.
Okay.
Um, so I'm very thankful to be able to do what I can do in the ring, and if I can just leave an impression with even if it's just one person that's watching our match, then I've done my job. That's the way I look at it.
It's a good way to look at it.
That's right.
Um, so these next couple questions might be tough ones to answer, but is there any one person you could say that you've enjoyed more so than everybody else, rather, working with?
Working with. I don't know. I enjoy working with so many people. Um, I would hope that a lot of people would say that they would enjoy being in the match with me. I think I'm a great person to be in the ring with. Um, but I mean, there have just been so many. Everybody that I've been in the ring with this year has just been such a great pleasure to work with. I mean, the dark matches that we had with Adam Anderson, him and I have dark matches, and it's fantastic. It's he's a great competitor, and he sells better than anybody else. So he's such a great seller for being such a little and light guy. Very interesting character, and he's another guy to really watch out for. Yeah, he's a great guy. Paradox, I've been in the ring quite a few times with him, and him and I always have great matches. There's just so many guys that I have great matches with, man.
So on the flip side, is there anybody that you've worked with that you would prefer never to work with again?
No, no, I don't think that there's anybody that I've had an issue working with. Seriously, in the past 2 years, I've not had an
That's
issue
good.
with anybody. Everybody's been great that I've worked with.
Okay. Not something you get very often, so.
No, yeah, I know that there are some guys that are, you know, either too stiff, so to speak, stiff,
Hmm.
uh, try to plan the whole damn match out, and then you lose your spot, and everybody's like, "What the hell's going on?" But no, I
Right.
haven't had that. I try to preach to everybody that I'm in the ring with is just communicate. That's the most important aspect of being in the ring is to communicate.
Yeah, I can definitely see that and agree with that. All right. So apparently nobody's got anything to say in the comment section because still nobody's chattering. Um, where can people find you if they're looking for you on Twitter?
All good. Judgment, 1985. You can find me on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook, The Prophet of Purgatory, Mr. Judgment. I am also on YouTube. I have my own YouTube page under Mr. Judgment, 1985, as well as, of course, the DBW YouTube page, which is just filled with some of the best matches you'll see anywhere. So, I mean, yeah, just about all forms. On Snapchat, how you doing? Um, so that's something new I'm experimenting with. Don't look at it yet.
Like I don't use this, so don't worry about that. For my end. But yeah, it's good to know in case anybody's looking for DBW or looking for you that might be new watching this at any point.
That's right. And I'm the guy that if you're interested in competing in DBW at any point in time, I'm the guy you want to contact and get a hold of, get something worked out.
Okay, yeah. I just had something pop up there. Um, so since they're being quiet in the comment section, I'll give them another minute or two before we close this out. I'll give you the floor. Anything you want to say just to hype up tomorrow's show or DBW altogether?
Sure. For tomorrow's show, All Hallows Eve, huge matches. Of course, at this show, contract matches, like I said before, the All Hallows Eve tournament for the All Hallows Cup trophy with some amazing talent, some dream matches that could possibly be happening, and some first time matches that are going to happen. And then you've got the DBW World Championship match, Casey James's first ever opportunity at the DBW World Championship, going against the proven champion, the It Factor Cyrus. And then you've got Pinata match. I don't know if you're going to see that anywhere else between two aliens and Voodoo Witch Doctor, for Christ's sake. And then you've got my match against I cannot remember that guy's name for the life of me. Oh, yeah, the Navon guy. Yeah, you got that little match. So it's going to be absolutely fantastic. All Hallows Eve is going to be amazing. And you got XHW World Championship match. Those guys are fantastic. They put on their heart and soul on the line out here. They're a very small company, very new company, but definitely give them a look. So that's going to be great. Hallows Eve is going to be amazing. And then we're still going to bring you one more show before we're done with the year from DBW, which information will be coming out with that within the next 2 weeks. As far as dates, what it's going to be called, some of the matches, besides the first match that was announced on your show here,
Okay.
Which Paradox, my new Brotherhood brethren, taking out the Outcasts and gaining the DBW World. But then 2018, we take a break for January, and we're looking to come back and have Total Domination a little bit early this year, around February. And Total Domination is always a huge show. Like I said, last year, that was the first time we saw Navon and Cam here in a dream match. Mm-hmm. The Armageddon match, the first one of this year, against myself and the Exterminator, fantastic match. There were so many good matches from that event. Plus, we had a total of 4 companies involved at Total Domination. So it was fantastic for that. And that begins the year every year, Total Domination. So there's always something going on here with DBW. Plus, in the off season, we will have best of videos with a compilation of each wrestler's best moves, highlights, and those kind of things. Plus, we will be doing an award show for our MVP, best moments, things like that. So a lot of good stuff in the off season that's going to be coming too.
That's good. Keeps viewers invested in the show and
that's right.
watching.
That's right. If you like to see good competition, if you like to see good wrestling, if you like to see good characters, and you like to see just fun, if you're a wrestling fan, you'd be stupid not to check out DBW. I mean, we just put on such a great product, I think, Tony. Don't you think?
It's a very good project. Yes, I'd agree with that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And you guys have uploaded a lot within the last couple of weeks. Can't forget to mention that there is still some more of Danger Zone that will be uploaded as well. So
there is, and we've only been on YouTube for not even a year and a half yet, and we are approaching 30,000 views for less than a year and a half. And we have over almost 350 subscribers in a year and a half.
Yeah,
pace to play with the big dogs of backyard wrestling, buddy. I'll tell you that right now. We are growing like a wild storm.
Yes, and I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean it's due to the great talent that we have. I mean, I'm surrounded by the best guys that there are out there to work with, and all the people who come here. It's just fantastic. They want to be a part of this because they see it's going to be something really special. I truly believe that.
Right. So it's not a question I asked anybody really yet, but is there anybody that hasn't been on my talk show? You've probably seen most people that have been, that you would like to see me get on here at some point in time.
Someone that I would like to see you get on the show with, I think, who would be great to get on your show? I think The Blaze would be great to get on your show. He always has a lot to say. He is the fan favorite of DBW, and he just I think he would light it up. Uh, he would do a great job on your show.
Gotcha. I'll keep that in mind. There's plenty of people scheduled to come on, so we'll see what happens
Oh
with
yeah,
that. Yeah. All right. So one last chance. If anybody's got anything to say in the comment section, go ahead and put it in there real quick. Because we're definitely gonna close it out here in the next couple minutes. Otherwise,
good deal. Good deal. Yeah, I'm actually standing in the DBW ring right now, and it is a thing of beauty.
nice, nice. All right. So you said something about potentially at some point we could see a VTW DBW crossover event. Do you think that's something that would more than likely happen there in DBW, or do you think it's something that might happen in VTW?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I know that we have, although they're the bigger company as far as views go and
Mm-hmm.
followers and all that, they're amazing. I think we have a lot to offer here in DBW, especially because we're indoors, so we
Right.
can. That are never an issue here, and we have a great entrance way. We have a professional sound system. We do video entrances,
Mm-hmm.
60-inch TV that goes with the entrances, just to add that little extra something special to the entrances. And the crowd that always comes to our shows are
Oh yes.
amazing. I mean, we fill this place,
Right.
so it's so. I mean, either way, I think it would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I of course would like it to be here. Of course, being biased a little bit, plus being indoors, I always like that.
Yeah.
But it would be great to do it regardless.
Gotcha. I agree with that. You can't never go wrong with doing a crossover event with VTW because, like you mentioned, they've got so many subscribers and so many viewers. So
Yeah, just to get exposure, I think is fantastic.
yes, it would be. All right. Enough of that. Still, chat room's quiet, so I think we're gonna pretty much close it out here. Any last words that you want to put in here before we end the show?
I just want to say thank you very much, Tony, for having me on. It's been a pleasure. Some great questions. Thank you for giving me the platform to just talk a little bit about our company, DBW, and what we have to offer. And everybody, just stay tuned. It's only going to keep getting bigger and bigger and better. And just know that you're with us. If you're with us now, you're going to continue to be a part of something special. And you can say that you were here from when we laid the groundwork for what we have going on that's great here in DBW. So that's what's pretty much I got to say is just DBW is just doing leaps and bounds better than myself or anybody on the corporate team ever thought it was going to be.
That's a good thing because it's always great to have more and more content out there available for people to watch.
Absolutely, buddy.
All right. You're welcome. And thank you again for being on here. I had a blast. It was great getting to learn a little bit more about you and about DBW.
Yeah, man. I hope it was entertaining for everybody involved, and it was an absolute pleasure to be on your show, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. All right, guys. I'm not exactly sure when I'll be on here again or who the next guest will be. The only thing I can tell the viewers is that there will be a prediction show for VTW's Halloween Hangover coming up sometime within the next few days, probably or the next week anyway, before their show airs. Um, and if anybody's interested in joining me for that, just get a hold of me, DM me on Twitter at Tiger121685. I'll take anybody for that because the original person might not be able to make it. So, other than that, thank you again for joining me here today, Mr. Judgment.
My pleasure, sir.
And thank you everybody for watching. This has been Tiger Talks Wrestling. We will see you next time.